Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Grassroots Podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Wisner, editor of Green Industry Pros. Today I'm digging into the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the green industry specifically. To get some perspective on the situation, I spoke with SingleOps CEO and co-founder Sean McCormick. He shared some details on how his customers are developing strategies to adjust to the situation. Here's what he had to say. In general, how are things been for SingleOps in adjusting to COVID-19?
Yeah. So for us internally, I don't think it's been as difficult as it has been for other businesses. We're very used to kind of, working remote, and that we're using kind of virtual conference tools like Zoom, and we use Slack for group chat, and we've got that configured to just do so much stuff. And we also have a handful of team members who are full-time remote, all within the U.S., but, in different areas of the country. So for them, they actually, I think, kind of like it now that everyone's remote too and doing that. And when it comes to, getting our work done and, providing the product and service for our customers, absolutely no issues there.
Okay.
The challenge has just become, for the folks who are in the office, or for instance, like the quarterly meetings I was just talking about, we always like to do those in person. And so not being able to do that, certainly can be, frustrating, but we've put in place a lot of things that we don't normally do to kind of keep spirits high and keep the team well connected. So, basically one of them every Thursday, and we've got that tomorrow, we do a virtual happy hour with the whole team. And so everyone, cracks a beer if they drink or what joins, regardless. And we'll just talk, and we'll play some stupid, fun online game with everyone. So just little stuff like that we've implemented to keep morale high. But other than that, for us internally, we're doing fine. Now with our customers, that's a different story if you want to get into that.
Yeah, and that was kind of the next step is what have you been hearing from the customer base as far as how things are going?
Yeah, so we've been hearing a lot, and we actually last week I hosted a webinar, and we did a panel with 4 of our customers that we picked a good group that we wanted to kind of span the green industry. So offering all services within the green industry: landscape maintenance, install, tree care, lawn care, irrigation, et cetera. And also we picked a group that spans the whole country. So we had someone represent each geography. And then we also had, a great attendance. I think overall it might have been several hundred, people attended. So it was a great kind of forum to get the feedback from the panel, but also open it up to the audience as well. And it just kind of reiterated a lot of the things that we're hearing. I think probably everyone knows at this point that most of all these companies are being listed as essential services in areas where there are stay-at-home orders or shelter in place. So they are still able to continue to operate. And so the majority are fully operational. I actually pulled up some data right here from some polls we ran during our webinar, and also some of the other data we've been collecting. But about 75% of our customers are fully operational. They haven't had to, lay off anyone or whatever. A decent percentage have had to cut back on some services. So certain services they're offering, they had to cut back on it. And some of the trends we're hearing is, municipal work has definitely slowed down, if not stopped completely, with what we've heard. And we have had a couple, and then exactly a couple in this list I'm looking at now, that has had to completely shut down their business. So that's kind of what we're seeing. The majority are operational. A minority are cutting back on services, and a few are shutting down. But obviously it's changing very rapidly, and so that's kind of what it looked like, last week. Yeah.
Just in general, just to give some perspective on the numbers you're talking about, is there kind of an average size-wise based on sales or even just like number of employees and stuff that your customers tend to have, or do you kind of run the gamut?
So our customers tend to be more mid-size to enterprise size companies. So I think the average revenue of our customers is a few million. We certainly have customers that are under 1 million in annual revenue, but typically it's close to a million up to, and then we've got some really large ones. So we had the president of a company on our panel that does close to 100 million annual revenue, and the majority of the industry is on that smaller size. The companies are over a million in annual revenue. That's the top 20% of the entire industry, and I know it's impacting everyone. And so, the data that I provided, that's the stuff that kind of came out of that webinar. But we certainly have a lot of smaller customers as well, and we're hearing similar stuff. It doesn't seem to be too different for them. They're still considered essential businesses as well, and they're still able to operate, but it's not like this hasn't having an impact on everyone. What we've seen, and this was another kind of poll we ran, that over 75% of our customers and users they're going to have a negative. They already had a negative impact on their top line. So basically, we're fortunate that the companies can stay open and stay operational. But they're absolutely feeling it, and they're feeling it, on their top line right now, and potentially have had to lay off staff as well.
And based on the surveys you've done, or just what you've heard from the customers, I mean, you mentioned that certainly on the maintenance side, for the most part, they have been found essential. I haven't checked today yet into the state of Michigan, because I know at least for the past week or so yet, Michigan was still landscaping was non-essential. Mm-hmm. So on the maintenance side, generally, like you said, across the board, but are you finding, even on that side of things, is anybody talking about, like, is it some of the residential stuff? You mentioned municipal, but is it some of the residential stuff even that's also either being postponed or canceled?
So not as much on the maintenance side. I mean, absolutely. Sure. On the install side, design, build. I mean, what we're seeing in Atlanta, though, is so we're based out of Atlanta, and spring has most certainly hit. It's been a gorgeous few weeks for us, and with all of our Atlanta customers, they are going gangbusters as they normally would be in the spring. So what we're seeing is a lot of companies in other parts of the country where spring hasn't hit yet, especially on the maintenance side. They're being very cautious, which is smart, because they haven't had that ramp up yet. However, sure. It may be like what we saw in Atlanta, where once spring hits, people will need those services. And although maybe your customers had been quiet for a few weeks up until that point, because of course they're being cautious about everything going on as well, they still need a lot of these services. And so it may just be a little bit of a pent up demand. But I would remain optimistic if you're in a part of the country where you haven't hit spring yet, and you've seen kind of a slowdown. I would, think that possibly there would be a little bit of a pent up demand once weather gets nice and people they're sitting at home. They have nowhere else to go. They're going to look at how nasty their yard's starting to look. So they're going to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, and like you said, on the maintenance side, I don't think that's going to be much of an issue, but certainly on that design build and more install side, in some of the shelter-in-place states, that part is considered non-essential, and in others, it's just for whatever reason. So at least on the residential side, they seem to be canceling, and I think it might be questionable as far as what sorts of bids are even going to be coming in on the commercial side, because those often, if they're talking to you now, that's for a project maybe in the fall, but are they even having that conversation right now? Because are they going to be willing to spend the money?
Yeah, it's tough. Strategies that we've seen some of our customers use to kind of combat against these things. One is to get more creative in offering customer financing. Basically, great companies out there, Green Sky being one of them, can, really help you as a landscaping business offer financing to your customers, whereby, for instance, maybe they don't, pay anything for the first year, and then they pay monthly on that 13th month. Whereas you, as the landscaper for a design build project, you get paid 20% up front and, 100% upon completion of the work. So things like that. It's just time for the industry to really kind of embrace some of these, I guess, more modern business practices, and just get creative. And so that's one of many that we're seeing customers do with some success. Here's another one that we're seeing that a handful of our customers have done in areas where they are being deemed an essential service. Because we like I mentioned, we do have a few that have completely shut down because they haven't been deemed that. We're seeing at least around the country that the majority of areas are listing it as essential services, at least maintenance, but possibly, a good portion or possibly even more other services as well. But what these companies are doing is, because they're allowed to be out on the roads, they're offering new services to their customers. So they've sent out emails saying, hey guys, look, like we're allowed to be out here, so we want to help you with anything you need. We can pick up your groceries. We can grab, whatever you need, kind of, but just allowing their customers to say, hey, we were taking care of you. Normally we take care of, your house and your yard, but if you guys need anything, we're on the road, so we can help. And they've seen a ton of response to that. We had one of our customers, Ross Day with Oasis Landscape, who sent out that email, and he said it was the most, the highest open rate, the highest response rate of any email he's ever sent out to his customer base. And so, just being creative and letting your customers know you're there to help and giving them options, it's the right time to do it.
Absolutely, for sure. So how does, in this scenario, is there some additional benefit for companies that are your customers and have your type of software that they're utilizing? How does that help them in this situation?
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you for asking that question, but I want to kind of preface my answer with saying that we've kind of put in a company policy that we, are not using this, basically what's going on right now to sell SingleOps. We feel terrible about doing that, but at the same time, there are benefits to using a type of software like this, especially during a time like this. And so what we are finding is a lot of our customers who possibly were tied to the office for whatever reason, the office staff or the crew had to go there. Maybe they had a server, or they had, an installed version of QuickBooks or what have you. With SingleOps, you can, your office can work completely remote, just like my team. And so we're seeing a lot of our customers being able to do that, which they love. And we are seeing a lot of companies that haven't been able to do that, wanting to make a switch or pursue that at this point. So, the ability of cloud and mobile software to allow you to, work from home if you need to, stay, on the job site, stay on the road, not, it allows you to socially distance, I guess. So that's one of the direct benefits of this situation right now. Plenty of others we could go into that I'd love to sell to you at any other time, but that's one I think that's relevant today.
Sure. Yeah. And I wasn't, and that's why I tried to generalize the statement. I mean, just in general, the general type of software and what some of the benefits are and that sort of thing. So, but no.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah. We take a lot of pride in the fact that we're able to help our customers all the time, but especially during this kind of time when they really need it, and so we're kind of taking that same approach that Ross Day at Oasis Landscape did. It's not for us just, all right, what type of product or software can we provide? What other things can we help you with during this time
Sure.
as good stewards of the industry? And so that's why we're hosting these webinar series, kind of discussing what's going on and, helping people stay updated, and why we love to participate in calls like this,
Sure.
share what we know and learn what you guys have as well. So, that's what we're all about.
That's perfect. Okay. Well, I think that about covers what I was looking to talk about today. I mean, unless there's anything else that you haven't touched on in regards to the current situation as it stands, I guess, today, because as you said, it's been fairly fluid at the moment.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I guess one of the things that we're going through right now, our businesses that I'm sure a lot of other landscaping companies are as well, I say other, but is process of applying for the government stimulus loan for our business. And so, we're doing that just like a lot of other companies, and the process is super confusing, and it's changed. I mean, literally it changed on Monday, whether you qualify or what have you. And so it's challenging, but I think one of the things that we've learned is regardless of eligibility, submitting the application and getting it in quickly is very important. We are seeing a lot of folks getting really good loans out of it. We have a company out of Texas that they have a large staff, but they got a $2.2 million forgivable loan through the program, and it's the PPP program. I forget what PPP stands for, but it's moving so fast. But that's the one that, through the Small Business Association, SBA, that seems to be helping a lot of people, and it's moving quickly. And even though it's changing, it's confusing. Every company that's listening to this that should absolutely apply.
Okay, because people are getting accepted, and I mean they're getting approved to get those loans.
Oh yeah, so the company I mentioned, they applied on Friday, and they got accepted yesterday.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's moving pretty fast. We had planned on applying earlier, but they did change the rules on Monday. Obviously you can't have more than 500 employees, but what you also can't have is a partner in your business who owns 20% or more, who also is a partner at that level in other businesses that collectively employ 500 people. They're calling that affiliate limitation. So, so just all these things you got to navigate with that. But we're learning it as we go, and we're going to be sharing some of that, what we've found, and in this upcoming week actually, and I think we're going to be doing a webinar on that as well. So, but yeah,
I was just going to say, so people can, so the landscapers that aren't necessarily your customers, they're able to go to your website and get on these webinars then, or?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So typically we'll do kind of webinars internally, but right now we're opening these up for anyone who wants to join, and we really encourage that, just because information is so critical right now, and making sure that you're getting it timely, because things are changing quick, especially with something like this loan program. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay. Well, Sean, thanks a lot for coming on today. I really appreciate it. And I'll probably be reaching out to you again sometime in the future, as hopefully this won't be going on too much longer, but who knows at this point. I mean, I guess from that perspective, what's your take on that in terms of, and I know that's constantly changing, but what have your customers been saying as far as what their opinions are in terms of how long this might go?
I don't think anyone knows. I think everyone just has a hope, Sure. I think everyone just hopes that, it's going to be for a few more months. I think the real concern that I have, but that also I think, that's shared with a lot of our customers too, is that it might come back next year, and so, sure. or later in the fall. And that's kind of obviously what, we've been hearing in the news. And so I think that's just why it's so critical that, like everyone's heard a million times, just stay at home. Like, it's tough right now, but together we can get rid of this thing. We just got to, all stay together on that and kind of obey those good policies everyone's telling us about, because the last thing we want is for this to come back around next year.
Well, that's all the time we have today. Tune in every Thursday for another edition of Green Industry Pros Grassroots Podcast, where we get to the root of the issue. Until next time.